Well, joining us now with her insight on this case is former CIA operative Lindsay Moran. So, Lindsay, you heard Mike Pompeo saying there, if the US think that the detention is not appropriate, they'll protest. Does that mean the US is now assessing the situation of Mr. Whelan?
I think the U.S. has probably already assessed the situation. There's nothing in the background or conduct of Mr. Whelan to suggest at all that he is working for U.S. intelligence. So I think what we have here is an individual who, because of his background, because of his placement in Russia, was picked up by Russian intelligence and is essentially being used as a pawn. It's really more of a hostage situation than an actual spy being apprehended.
And what kind of information will the US ambassador to Russia have been trying to get from Mr. Whelan when he was allowed to see him today?
Well, he'll want to know how he was detained, if he was presented with any evidence to suggest that he was committing espionage, which probably he was not. I think what we're seeing here is, look, we caught a very low-level pawn in Maria Butina. And so I think we're seeing a very provocative move on the part of Putin and the Kremlin, essentially trumping up an American pawn.
Right, you're talking about Maria Butina. She is the Russian who was arrested here, and she's been charged with trying to influence the US political process. So you're seeing this as a kind of tit for tat, potentially?
It is tit for tat, but they're not equal cases. I mean, there is ample evidence to suggest that Maria Butina was conducting espionage here. But she's a very low-level pawn. U.S. intelligence operates a little bit differently. We're not going to use someone who's so shoddy in their tradecraft within Russia. So when you're conducting U.S. intelligence operations within Russia, you are highly trained. And nothing about Mr. Whelan's background even suggests that he would have an affiliation with U.S. intelligence.
Do you think that Moscow could try to push this to the point of trying to arrange a prisoner swap if they really want to get Maria Butina back?
Absolutely. I think that's what they want to do. And it's not that Maria Butina has, the Russian nuclear codes, but it is an embarrassment to Russia. It is an embarrassment to Putin. And in a way, what seems like a desperate move, just wrapping up some American individual over there, in a way is very clever, because now he could use this, the Kremlin could use this, Russia could use this to arrange for a swap, which sort of forces the U.S. to suggest, to maybe admit that this was an intelligence operative, which I don't think, as I said, there's any indication that Mr. Whelan was.
Lindsay Moran, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.